Welcome to my 5th stitch with me. I'm really excited that you're all coming to join me with my stitching. I hope you do just as well with your stitching. Thank you very much for all my subscribers and all the returning viewers. I am working on my Dark Queen of Earth. This is part 3. I haven't got all the stitching of part 3 because unfortunately I got interrupted while I was videoing this several times. Brendan had to come in for meals, David came in and out because we had a shed inspection this week, and with the shed inspection that meant that we had to have a lot of records, for example, feed that we brought in, so that is the pellets that are fed in the cow shed, so we had to have a record of where they come from, what chemicals we buy, and what cows have been treated. So things are changing in the dairy industry, things are tightening up. For example, it used to take probably half an hour for a shed inspection. I've got a knot. And this shed inspection took 2.5 hours, something like that. Some of it is looking through all the records. For example, we also have to have the vet come and do a condition score of the cows. So there has to be a record of that as well, and how many cows have died, etc. We haven't had that many die this calving period. The calving period went quite well. There was one that isn't very well at the moment. She's getting treated because we think that she's eaten too many pellets. She hasn't only eaten hers, but she's eaten the pellets from the cow next to her on either side, and she's got acidosis. We have been giving her magnesium, so hopefully she will get better. I just had to pause again because Dave came back in. So much for him leaving, and that's it. It is so frustrating trying to do any videoing at the moment because he is constantly in and out. He was meant to have yesterday morning off, and he had actually Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So today is, this is pretty sad. I don't even know the date. It's a Sunday the 6th of November, and it is at 8:35. I have been up since 2:30, I think. So I'm not sure what time this will go up. So you might be joining me in the stitching during the night. So I have good news. I have an appointment for my MRI scan, and that is in 2 weeks' time. So I was quite surprised to get the letter. It was a courier letter, so that meant it was track and trace. So I've never had a letter like that before. Unfortunately, it isn't at the closest hospital, and the closest hospital is an hour and a quarter away. This is 2 hours away each way. So the advantage is that it's actually a morning that Dave's off, so he'll be able to drive me there and back. So hopefully I will know in the next month what is actually wrong. Some days I'm getting better and I think, I'm just about back to normal. and then other days I'm not so sure. Yesterday I went to the runoff to get some patterns because Jess has been talking about next year we should do our lavender and lace Celtic ladies. And I thought, oh, that's a good idea. So I bought some Ada earlier in the week and I thought I'll just dye it to what colour because it's the seasons. So there's spring, summer, autumn and winter. And I thought, oh, I'll dye the fabric. And then I thought about it and I actually have a lot of fabric dyed anyway because I bought the Christmas box from Chromatic Alchemy last Christmas and I think it was about 15 pieces of hand dyed fabric in it, and I thought I should use some of that. So I grabbed that yesterday and I was showing photos to Jessica and going, well, what do you think? In the end I said to her, look, I think I'll just put all the fabrics that I've got. I think I had about 12 pieces sitting here. I didn't bring everything. Some I didn't think would suit the colour wise. And I thought, oh, I'll bring those 12 pieces and she can just help me when she comes home over Christmas period. So I had to stop again because I needed a cough because the weather has been weird here this year. We've had a lot of rain in the last week and then you have the odd day that's quite hot. So it's cold, hot and my body's not quite sure what it's doing. So I seem to be getting a bit of a summer cold. I'm a little bit over it at the moment, but there's not much you can do about it. So I haven't had a lot of sleep in the last few days because this is his third morning off and he hasn't slept well these last few nights and has been tossing and turning. And once I'm awake, that's it. It is so frustrating. Even if I've only been asleep an hour or two, if I wake up, I'm awake for hours. If I'm lucky, I can have a nap during the day, but that isn't always the case. So yesterday I went to the runoff to get the patterns that I was after, and I must admit I was really shocked. I couldn't believe how many patterns I found that are kitted up. I've got a lot of mirabilias and I've got all the beads for them. I just haven't got the DMC. So last night I did order a DMC for the Celtic ladies and the deity of the moon, I think she is. Is it Myra? Myari. See, terrible memory. I got the threads for her. I have bought the other two deities, the Tala, and another one. I've bought the patterns and the bead sets and the Krennics for those. So they should leave hopefully in the next few days from America. And I found a piece of 16 count Phantom by Picture This Plus, and I'm going to put them on that piece of fabric. I did dye a piece of fabric, but it's not quite as dark as the Phantom is, so I've decided I will use that. Apart from that, I don't think I intend to do too many more starts. I think some fancy ladies next year, but then again, I change my mind all the time. I'm always unsure. So the Temptress of the Cursed Sea is another Bella Filipina that I have, and that's already kitted up. So I could start that on the 1st of January because Teresa Little Stitcher was having a live that I watched last week, and she was saying that the 1st of January she's going to do a Bella Filipina, and she's hoping other people will join in with her, and I'd like to join in with her doing a Bella Filipina because I've actually got quite a few of her patterns, but I have to decide which one I'm going to do. So hopefully in my Flosstube I will show the ones that I've got, and hopefully people can help me choose. I've got the Temptress of the Cursed Sea. I have Greta Gold Broom, and I have the Deities as well, which I'm going to put on one piece of fabric. I have a few others, but I didn't bring them with me because it's like I can only start so many in this coming year. My whole point of actually having them at the runoff is so I wouldn't start things, but I don't think that is working very well because it's just meant that I've bought a lot more patterns in the meantime. I've forgotten what I've actually got at the runoff. I was quite surprised by some of them. For example, I was shocked how many Mirabilias I've actually got, especially as I don't tend to enjoy stitching non-full coverage as much. The Dark Queen is, I've just got the pattern again, and it's Pattern Keeper compatible, but I'd already started this part and I had loaded the picture into Pattern Keeper, so I could mark off, I just couldn't select the colours. So I'm really excited for the next part that comes out that will be Pattern Keeper compatible, let's hope, because it makes it so much easier actually selecting the threads. The yellow on this isn't the called for Petite Treasure. It's not Petite Treasure Braid. It is Silk Lame, and it's a bit brighter than the called for. I actually found when I was at the runoff, I do have the called for. I have thought about removing it and restarting the Silk Lame, just restitching it, but I'm not sure it's going to matter. I think I'll decide at the end because depending on the rest of it, it might be fine. I'm not going to use the called for beads anyway. I'm just going to use what I can get here. So I think if I know there's yellow beads on it, so I'm thinking I might just get the same colour beads that go with the Silk Lame, try and get a brighter yellow and see if it can match up. But it's a long way away. This is only part 3 out of 12 parts, and normally it's a 1/12 part that has the beads in it, I think. I think that's what we did last time. But I think that's really cool that they are doing them pattern keeper compatible. Hopefully the rest of the Autumn Lane stitchery patterns will become pattern keeper compatible, because it does make it so much more convenient. It'll load easier. So if I have to buy them again to make them pattern keeper compatible, I probably would. Like, I've got Baba Yaga here, and I haven't started it yet, but I do have the pattern, the PDF pattern. I was really shocked when I went up to the runoff about how much furniture and how many things we already have in the house, considering this house is still full. It's a bit of a concern about where we're going to fit everything. At least I had my bags and things labelled. It did make it easier finding things, so that's one advantage. I did find 2 more of the cottage garden sampler, the Year in the Woods patterns. It was like, oh, I thought they were here. So I had to have a laugh. I'm thinking about, I was doing them on 25 count, 1/1, and I'm thinking about dyeing fabric again and actually putting it on 16 count, because I think the 1/1 is too small, and with the fabric I found I needed the magnifier for it, because with dyeing the fabric. So I'm seriously thinking about re-dyeing it and redoing it. I think the only reason why I didn't do it on 16 count in the first place was because it would use more of the specialty threads, which some of them I struggled to get. But in hindsight, I'm thinking, does it really matter? I've got a lot of silks. I might just pick a similar colour and use up some of my silks from Silks For You. But in the meantime, I need to finish my Year in Stitches, because I'm using the silks in there, that piece. And then I'll know how many silks I actually have left. I did the part 3 of this in 2 days of the Dark Queen. I was really happy. I actually think it went quite quickly, even though I am stitching quite slowly. But that's, I think, just due to still having issues with that hand. It's actually starting to peel now. You'll have to excuse how my fingers look, because some people haven't learnt about wearing gloves when they dye. And the simple reason I don't wear gloves is that I haven't got a lot of feeling in my right hand anyway. It feels like I'm permanently wearing a set of gloves. So I didn't want to put gloves on as well and feel even less. And I find that really frustrating. But next time I have got my dye container and I've put gloves in it to remind me, because some people just don't learn. I did see, Jessica sent me a really interesting video the other day about how to dye fabric, and you use paintbrushes. You have your dye in a bottle, you make it up like individual colours, and you wet your fabric, you put it on plastic, and then you use a paintbrush for where you want your dye, and then you wrap it up completely in Glad wrap or plastic, and you put it in the microwave for 30 seconds. You do it once or twice, depending on how big your fabric is. I've just changed to into the heart of the storm, or is it into the heart of the storm? Mini heart of the storm. Because Jessica is working on this piece and she has got all the feathers done on the wings and a lot of the face, and I'm thinking I really need to catch up because I think she's at 26.17%. And I've just, at the end of today, I have actually done 674 stitches while you're watching this. And it is a little bit harder because I have to find exactly where the stitches are because I'm just filling in confetti because I do colour completing or cross country. That's the word I was looking for. Showing that I'm tired. I am hoping to get these wings completely filled in before I move on to another piece. I'm not sure it's actually going to happen. I think it's probably more stitches than I actually want to do. And to be honest, I don't think it will bother me coming back to this piece because it doesn't feel like a lot of confetti, and I think the simple reason is that I'm doing colour by colour and I've done a lot of the colours in it, so it's just a few colours. It's probably only 50 maybe. Before I was working on the Dark Queen, I was working on my Rainbow Sampler by Northern Expressions, and that's on black fabric, and it is just a single, it's 25 count, and I'm using dinky dyes, so you just use a single colour at a time because each band is about 4 colours total, I think. So I was working on that, and then I did the Dark Queen, and there was a lot of bulk stitching in the Dark Queen too. So when it came to actually working on this, I didn't feel it was too bad. I was actually quite relieved to get to some confetti because I'd had so much bulk stitching. Even if I finish the top of the wing in the brown area, do the ninja stitches that are left in that, I think I'd be quite happy. I'm not sure I will get there. So Jess bought a 3D printer a few weeks ago. I said to her that I'd pay half, and she put it together yesterday, and she started printing some thread drops today. I have been shocked about the quality of her thread drops, considering she had to make the pattern herself, the 3D printer pattern on the computer, and then she started printing it. I said to her I didn't want mine too big because I find that Annie's Keep is really good, so I probably don't want them much bigger than that. So she has started printing them. I'm surprised how long it takes. I'm sure it was 3 or 4 hours for 20. So no wonder they cost so much for buying them off Etsy. It isn't that I mind the cost of the thread drops so much, it's the postage. For example, the deity of the moon and all three. So I got the two patterns. I got the Tala and I'm not sure what the other one's called. I haven't paid that much attention. Hanan, Tala and Hanan. I bought those two patterns. I bought the beads for those and the krennic for them, and I bought the beads and the krennic for my Ari as well. So that is four bead sets, 4 krennic sets, and 2 patterns. No, it must have been three bead sets, because it's only 3 of them, it's not 4. 3 beads, 3 krennic, and 2 patterns, and it costs me $400 and something, $453. Boy, I'm going to have a look now because it's going to really bother me. Okay. It cost me $418 New Zealand and 1 cent for the patterns. $55 for shipping and tax. $71 for sales tax as well. So that brings it up to $544. I can see why I'm buying things now like that, because I definitely don't want to, once we retire, spend that much. I also bought some Omanique frames from Australia, and I got the invoice for the book of days for Jessica and I for next year. So I think I have spent enough this month on cross-stitch things. That doesn't include the Bella Filipinas that I have kitted up with the MC. I was thinking about getting a couple of other full coverage pieces kitted up, but I think I'll wait until after Christmas, because nothing will arrive here before Christmas now, and I don't want anything to get lost in the post, so I'll just wait. Our local bridge to get into our town is going to be closed from 6 p.m. until 6 a.m. I think it's 6 p.m. until 6, because they are retasseling the bridge. So it means that every hour they're going to open the bridge for people to drive into town if they need to. So I think that's a bit of a concern with any emergencies, because there's no other bridge, there's only one. So that is from anybody that wants to get down south to go to Invercargill. So that's a bit of a concern, but I think it's meant to be going on for a week. We're lucky because we're not actually in town, we're out of town, so if anything happens and Brendan needs to go to the hospital, it won't matter, because we won't need to go that direction. We will go north instead, but yeah, it's very frustrating. I'm not quite sure what to talk about because I don't feel that I've done anything exciting in the last 2 weeks since my last stitch with me, but Sharon suggested that anybody that has any questions for me or wants to know anything, if you write in the comments my next stitch with me, I can answer those questions. So if it's anything you'd like to know, that would be awesome. That will help me, because I definitely run out of ideas. One good thing is with my new litter box, I was thinking that Coco would never use it because she was only using her old one. So it's got a cat flap on the old one, and I always had it open because she doesn't know what a cat flap is. So I put the door down so she would have to push to get into her old litter box, and she started using the new one, so I'm really pleased over that. She seems to be enjoying that it auto cleans after she's been, because this morning she went to the toilet and then I heard it rotating and I thought, oh, okay, she's been, and then she disappeared again and then about 20 minutes later I heard it rotating again. So obviously she had decided that she still needed to go to the bathroom. So I think that's really cool that I don't have to do anything. The only thing is, I think every few days I will have to have a wee look just to make sure that there's no issues, there's no blood or anything in her litter box, because with cleaning it yourself you do keep a wee bit more of an eye on it. So Dave left just before to feed the last of the calves. It's only one lot here now. All the rest of the calves are up at the runoff, and they are just getting pellets now and eating grass. The electrician was at the house this week. They are starting to put the electricity from the house to the sheds, and we're having a caravan plug there as well, because that's what the portable office uses. You just plug into a caravan plug, so we'll have that sorted out as well. It means that they have to get a digger in to dig on the driveway from the house to where the shed is. I was saying to Dave yesterday that it's going to be really weird when we're living up in the house, because I'm so used to walking down the hallway and running my hand along the wallway so I don't walk into the hall walls. And there isn't a lot of walls in our house because it's a very open plan and our living area is very big. And I was saying, I don't know what I'm going to do without all the walls. So that was a bit of a laugh. I was discussing with Jessica during the week that maybe I should put a tone when of some sort for when I insert images. I thought that was a really good idea. So when you're stitching, you know to look up, because I've actually inserted something, but she thinks it will be really annoying. So I'm not sure I'll actually do that now. It'll be interesting to see what people think about that. I was listening to audiobooks with my headphones from YouTube, and I found this series that I quite liked. It was a lit RPG, and it was Primal Hunter by Gareth Zorgith. It's a real weird name. I'm just trying to find it. Zogarth. And I was listening to that and I thought, oh, this is really cool. And then it stopped playing. So I didn't know if they were legal or not, but I assume they're not. Because I was listening to the James Patterson Escape earlier in the week, and the same thing happened. I got so far into it and then it stopped. So I thought, oh, I'll be clever this time. I'll actually download it. So if it gets removed off the site, it won't matter because I've downloaded it. That doesn't work. It stopped anyway. So I had to laugh over that one. And I just bought the books from Audible instead, which is fine. Obviously, it's not legal. At least I know now. And I got another pattern from Gecko Rouge, and it's on 14 count fabric because I didn't know what I wanted to do with it in future. This time it's in a plastic case, so I think that's pretty exciting. But I don't intend on starting it anytime soon. I thought I am better off doing any of my patterns that I've kitted up for 25 count. And later on, if I do have issues with my eyesight, I can go to the 14 count because I've got the fabric. I will need to overlock it, but that's okay. I'm getting used to that now. It's not such an issue. I don't know why I made it sound such an issue in a previous Flosstube, because Gecko Rouge isn't the only company that don't overlock it. I think I'm just really spoiled with Pain-Free Crafts because they do. And Charting Creations, I'm sure it was Charting Creations. I actually got them to kit up a pattern from the Cross Stitch Studio, and that wasn't overlocked either. Hey do with their kits. So Gecko Rouge not overlocking it isn't a big deal. I'll just need to do quite a few pieces and just have it done, and when I do want to start it. The only reason why I haven't done it in the meantime, like Wednesday and the cow one, and I'm sure I bought another one, but I can't remember what it's called. I'll just do them all at once and have them all ready. The only reason why I haven't done it yet is because I bought them all on 14 count and I may not use the 14 count. I was always thinking when I bought them on 14 count that I'd probably do them on 16 count and I'd switch out the fabric, but I'm not sure if that's what I'll do or not. Talk about indecisive. So our Northern Expression pattern, the rainbow one I was talking about before, I have issues stitching it because it's on black fabric. I've now got up to 40.96%. I am hoping as soon as I finish stitching on this piece that I'll actually work on it again. I really want to get it finished over the summer periods, but I'm not even at 50% yet. It's really 22,000, nearly 22,000 stitches on it, and I've only done just about 9,000. So that's my next piece to go to. Because of the black fabric, I need the magnifier for every stitch because I can't see it, and it's a bigger magnifier. I think it's a 4 times magnifier, whereas my other one is only a 3.5. it just wasn't cutting the distance. So the magnifier also has a light on it, and I intend to get as much as I can over the summer period. Jess was saying it would be really nice to have it finished by June, which I agree, because I won't want to stitch on it over winter. I haven't touched it, I think, since last summer, because I just don't like stitching it on the black, doing the black. I've got all the dinky dyes for it. It was interesting seeing Jessica's piece, because she's got the DMC, and to be honest, I don't think there's much in it. When Jess comes home over the Christmas period, hopefully we should be able to do a Flosstube together, which will be super exciting, and we can compare some of our pieces that we're doing together, because we have the Twisted Rainbow, we have Mini Heart of the Storm, we have Archer. I'm trying to think. We also have a Christmas piece. I'm doing the Magical Arrival, and Jessica's doing the same. It's by Anne Stokes. I'm not sure which one she's actually doing. And we're going to start Deep Ocean next year. And we're going to start in December another Christmas piece, full coverage. And I think we might start one of those Tataki pieces. I have to decide whether I start the Talas or the Prior. Which piece I start was one of the two. I definitely feel that I've got enough pieces at the moment. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then I've got my year stitches is 16, and I've got my shadow line, that's 17. Okay, I've got 17 active whips, and I've got several that I've started but aren't active, so that's 18, 19, 20, 21. So I think my whip list is 21. I think I've worked on most things this year. I definitely think I've made quite a lot of progress. I haven't done much of the story time by Gecko Rouge, and it's a Zizek Namu piece. I haven't done hardly anything of that. And also Awake Your Magic is an Anne Stokes piece. It's a white owl. I've put that aside as well. I've decided I actually want this piece finished first before I go to it. But the year in stitches, I just need to do the November and December. I think I will do my rainbow sampler first before I actually go to that, because I don't think there's that much stitching left in it. I might leave it to more the end of the month, because then I can do November and December together and be done. So there'll be one less whip. Nothing else I don't think is very close to a finish. Oh, Potion Shoppers. Potion Shoppers are 83%. So, yeah. I could get some finishes early next year in the first half. But I'm not all about getting the finishes. I'm more all about the process. I enjoy the stitching. It keeps my hands busy. I don't watch TV, so I wouldn't be able to sit and watch TV. I'm still not able to do as much as I was. But it's a work in progress. Hopefully, in the next few months, they'll know exactly what's wrong and I can have a drug and be all fixed. Isn't that positive thinking? It works out quite well because on the 8th of December I go, so it's the 18th of November I go to get my scan, and the 8th of December I go to see the eye surgeon, and I see the occupational therapist as well. So hopefully they'll know what's wrong by then and we'll have a better idea what's going on. I know my eyesight has deteriorated in the last 6 months, but I think it could just be age. As soon as you get over 50, they're saying that it does deteriorate. And I think the biggest thing I noticed with my glasses was that it was my stigmatism that was the issue, and I'm pretty sure that is the muscles in your eyes as well, so that could be just age, but you never know. I'm not a doctor. Just as well. So the cows are dropping at the moment, production-wise, because it's not warm enough. We're mating, and we're not having the numbers that we normally have. And I think that's due to the milking quite well, and you can't have your cake and eat it as well. They either put the milk into the vat or they get in calf. You can't have both. Still haven't had anybody looking at buying the herd yet, but I think it's too early because there isn't really any movement nationwide, and because with inflation increasing and the interest rates increasing, it's all taking a toll. People are being a wee bit more cautious. I'm sure the banks are being more cautious too. So that's just the way it goes. I don't tend to have much going on this week apart from stitching. I'm aiming for every day that I do 1,000 stitches, so if I don't make that 1,000 stitches, I don't worry. Yesterday I didn't do as many. I think I only did 500 and something, but I'd had several big days of doing, when I was working on the Dark Queen, I was doing over 1,300 stitches a day, so it's quite understandable that I have smaller days. So I was quite relieved to not do as much yesterday. Not that my hand felt any better. I have bought a TENS machine for my arm. I just need to plug it in to charge it. So that's today's job. Oh, it was funny. Dave drinks orange juice and lemonade at night, because we don't drink any alcohol at all, and the orange juice was in the spare room and it all separated, and he was going, oh, I have to throw this out. I said, no, it isn't near the expiry date and it hasn't gotten too hot. I said, you just need to put it in the fridge and then we'll check on it. And I opened one and it smelt fine, and I said, no, I think it's fine. I said, I think it's just because it's been sitting here it has separated a little bit. So I shook it up after it was in the fridge, and it's fine. So much for him wanting to throw it out. There was about 4 bottles in there, because we do tend to buy stuff in bulk when we go to the supermarket. We'll buy several things because I hate grocery shopping. Not that I'm doing it. Well, I was at the run-off and looking for the patterns that I wanted. Dave went and grocery shopped, so that worked really well, so I didn't have to do it. And I also brought back, I had a bag full of Q-snaps and Nudge frames, so I brought them back as well, so I can start some new pieces. What else do I need to talk about? Not sure. I hope you're getting a lot of stitching in. I did on this, my owl piece, I have done 674 stitches. So, and that is in 4 hours. So I'm really happy with that. Especially as it's a little bit harder when you're finding the ninja stitches. I do see Jessica's point by doing block by block. You're not having to look for stitches so much. You just have several threads at a time, because I do park a little. So it's not like I'm not used to parking. And I said, I really should do that with this piece. But I think because I've gotten so far with doing cross country, I'm finding it quite hard to get my mind around changing. Whereas other pieces that I'm just doing block by block, I don't have as many issues. Yeah. I definitely won't be starting no new starts next year. I like Darren's idea of 23 pieces for 23, but I'm not sure I want that many either. I keep changing my mind of what I'm going to do. I was thinking, I don't think I'll start anything next year unless I finish something, and then I thought, I've got a lot of pieces kitted up, so I need to keep working on them. If I don't start them, they'll never get finished. And I like that I've got quite a variety of pieces. So, for example, when I finished Vicar's Fifth last week, it was like, I'm so pleased to put this away. I've actually got some bulk stitching on that because I've just hit the left hand edge and I'm working on the werewolf, but I felt that I'd worked on that 3 or 4 days and that's well and truly enough for me. I think I do that more. I do 3,000 or 4,000 stitches and then I need to change. Jess seems to have worked on all her pieces this year, so she has gotten really good progress, especially as she's got a lot of bigger pieces than I do. I want to start the lake cabin sooner than later because it's a full-size Haid and I don't have many of them. I tend to get minis more because the reality is how much more stitching will I do? I don't know. So Dave's been talking still about buying this camper van. I told him this week I'm definitely not interested in the slightest. And he's going, but you could take your cross-stitching stuff with you. And it's like, I couldn't think of anything worse. Honestly, I'm shaking my head because it is just, the idea of it is horrible. And I'm saying to him, I struggle to get into his truck because I have to climb in because I'm too short. And I said, just imagine every time going into a camper van you have to climb up the steps too. I said I'll definitely need a handle because as soon as it's unlevel ground or I'm having to step over something or step up something, I'm a lot worse. So I think after he had to hold on to my arm today to get into the house, I think he realises, yeah, it's not going to be that easy. And I'm not sure how much tripping around to places I would do anyway, because I'm not walking as much as I used to, for sure, because I'm too unsteady. He did say that as soon as I have my walker, he gets out of the hallway because I walk really quickly then. He said if you're trying to walk without it, I'm really slow, but at times I think I'm a lot better, and then as soon as I get a little bit tired, I'm definitely not. I'm so over it, honestly. I was meant to cook yesterday, and after being out for, it's probably away a couple of hours, definitely didn't feel like cooking last night, so I said today, nope, we will just get a meal out of the freezer. So I was pleased that we did that, and I will have to cook tonight because I got ground beef out of the freezer, so that'll need to be cooked tonight. Apart from that, I don't think there's nothing exciting happening locally either. The neighbour that was interested in our job and buying our cows, I don't think that's going to work because he was wanting to share milk here but also keep the job that he's got at the moment. Funnily enough, the boss isn't keen for that at all, and I don't blame him, because we brought up a few years ago about maybe getting a manager here and us moving on to our own property and just to live, and Dave would still oversee it but not have to work as many hours, just have a manager, and he could relief milk and do other things. But the boss wasn't keen on that at all, and I don't blame him. It's a big investment with his plant and farm, so he wants it looked after. So, yeah. So I wasn't surprised that it's not really going to turn out with the neighbour. And it would have been a really easy option for us, but it's not up to us to find somebody for the job. The boss has had so many people that have said that as soon as we leave, they really want the job here because it's close to town, it's easier farm because it's all flat. So, yeah, I'm not surprised at all. But it's still going to take quite a bit of work, even just moving all of our stuff from here, all the farm stuff, and maybe it'd be better if we have another year to prepare and sell them next year. I'm not sure. Dave seems quite keen to do one more year, and I can't think of anything worse for the simple reason that it has been hard going this season. I'm not doing near as much as I used to. For example, I've got an accountant that's doing the payroll now because I used to do it, so I'm not even doing that, let alone feeding calves, let alone working in the cow shed. I haven't worked for years off the farm because Dave doesn't like it when I work, and the simple reason for that is that he, for example, at the moment he's not getting home until 7 o'clock at night, so and then he goes to bed at 9, so he'd only see me a couple of hours at night. With me not working, he gets to see me at breakfast and at lunch. He's half an hour for breakfast and he has half an hour to an hour for lunch. So he gets to see me that then, so that helps. Hey, you can see my hand at the bottom pulling the thread. I hope that's not distracting. Jess seems to be doing really well. She's really busy at work. Can't believe the amount of hours that she works. Hopefully she will get another staff member and it will mean that she won't have to work every weekend. But it seems to be every industry in New Zealand is short of staff, not just at hospitals. So if you can hear the birds in the chimney, it's that time of day. So my brother is head chef and he can't find a sous chef, and it's that sort of thing. I'm one of 4. I am the youngest. I have 2 brothers and a sister I don't talk to. Actually, none of the family talk to her. So, but I am close to my brothers. They're really good. My oldest brother is a chef. My other brother, he works on a dairy farm. He works on the farm that we were at before here. He worked for us and then he stayed there. And he seems quite happy doing that. He had a bit of a scare earlier in the year. They thought he had lung cancer because he had a growth in his lungs. Thankfully, it wasn't, and it must have been a fluid. He had pneumonia before that, and then it was a fluid-filled sac or something. So they were going to remove it, but it's actually decreased over time. So thankfully he didn't need to have anything done for that. So that was a bit of a worry. My father's still alive. My mum died about 6 years ago. She died of pancreatic cancer. It was very quick. She went downhill and they put her in hospital and they thought that she had a blockage in her stomach or something, and they opened her up and they found out that she was full of cancer. They closed her up and she didn't wake up again. So that was really sad, but there's not much you can do about it. I definitely have a love of crafts due to my mum, I think, because my mum used to do a lot of crafts. She used to knit and crochet, and she had started quilting a few years before she died, and she was loving that. I can't think of anything worse for the simple reason that I only sew when I have to, which is quite surprising considering I have a certificate in a sewing machinist. I did this course when I was young to become a sewing machinist at a factory, and then I got glandular fever and I wasn't able to take the job that I got offered, and I became a knitting machinist. So I was knitting garments on a machine, and I did that just after I left school. So I did that for quite a few years before I started working in a chemist. It's hard to believe now that I would even think about sewing, but those skills have carried over for when I want to do project bags and that sort of thing. It has been quite helpful. But it's not something I love by any means. So I only make them when I have to. I have a bit of a spat at it. I will do quite a few at a time, and then I don't touch it again for another few months. It's like, oh, I've recovered from that. I do think it makes it easier now that I have a mat. So I needed to stop for another cough. I've got a mat with a rotary cutter and a ruler, and I think that's probably why I don't like sewing as much as always the cutting of the fabric. The sewing isn't that bad, it's actually just cutting up each time, each thing. So I bought more cottons in the last week because I need some more sewing machine cotton. I don't know, it's probably at the runoff, to be honest. I bought several more cones of that. Excuse me. Well, thank you very much for stitching with me. I hope you've done as much as I have. I've been really happy with working on my owl. It's one more thing I've caught up with Jessica. I must admit, because we both are working on several pieces the same, it is motivating me to keep working on them, and it pushes me along, because sometimes I go, oh, maybe I should be monogamous and just work on one piece. I can't imagine that, because as soon as I've worked on something for 3 or 4 days, I start to slow down. I don't stitch as quickly, and I think that it is because I'm starting to get bored with it, so I can't imagine just staying on the same piece. The people that do, congratulations, you're doing really well. I don't know how you keep motivated to do it, but I think that's the advantage of the cross-stitch community. Everybody is so friendly and everybody has a different way of doing things, and we keep everybody motivated to keep working on it, because some of the pieces are going to take years to finish. So if you've got any questions, please put them below, and I will answer them in my next stitch with me to the best of my ability. And thank you so much for watching this. I hope I haven't repeated myself too many times, as I've started it several times. I don't know. I'm really bad at that. I keep thinking every time I have a video, I'll get better this time. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm getting any better. I have done the voiceover this time for the simple reason that I was interrupted so many times that it wasn't possible to do it any other way. So, have a fantastic stitching week. I hope to do my next update on Tuesday. So that's only a few days away, and you'll be able to see all my projects that I've worked on. You'll be able to see how much further I get on this. Have a wonderful week, and I will leave it at that. I think it's just about over, and I will see you next time. Thank you. It was wonderful to stitch with you. Bye.